inside. Yeah, they're inside of StreamYard.
We love a proprietary general track.
That was kind of weird. All right, it is Social Surge with Fly and Mo. This one is called Into Space. And we're just jamming out with you on a Tuesday morning. So we're actually going to be talking about legit things today. Not that we don't ever talk about legit things. However,
it's not that what we were talking about before wasn't legit. We were just like, we talked about it for a long time. But that's the thing, right? Like that's why we're here. Because there's so much to talk about.
And there was a ton of information in that one too. So that is awesome. Anyway, everybody, thank you. Tuesday morning for joining us. Social Surge with Fly and Mo. My hair's a little big today. I had to put leave-in conditioner. So I swim like 3 times a week. And I swim like 50 minutes. Like it's a long time. Good morning from the elliptical Reps with Rod. We need that series, Rod. He's joining us on Instagram.
Reps with Rod. Seriously, I love it. You need a series. I highly recommend everybody do a series, but like especially for Rod, and like he's getting it, he's pumping it, and just like laying down the mind thoughts, the mastermind thoughts.
That's it. So talking about big hair. So I had not that you guys care, but I swim. So I swim like 3 times a week. It's like 50 minutes. I do a little over a mile swimming. And I put leave-in conditioner in my hair yesterday because good morning, Hector. Good morning, Dwayne. Woohoo! We got LinkedIn in the house.
Crew is here.
Hector's on X. We got Rod. Corey Zelnick is joining over on Instagram.
Z.
Good morning, buddy. He has a radio show that's coming up. I'm so excited for him. WABC Radio in New York City. He is going to have his own program for like an hour. Talking about New York, talking about retail, talking about real estate. I'm like so excited for him. Yes, I'm so excited.
This is huge.
Okay, so I have leave-in conditioner in my hair, and I went to go and I put my hair up in a bun, right? And I took my hair out this morning, and my hair was this big, like this big. It was so big, and then I'm trying to like fix it, and I'm like, okay. It's got curls. I never have curls. It's got all this stuff happening. And yeah, so that's what's going on with the big hair. However,
I love it.
I love your hat.
My hat. I'm so excited.
Tell me about your hat.
Okay, first of all, if you haven't been following along, I have a CRE hat collection, and I've actually just gotten a huge haul, both from the conference I was at in Vegas and also from eBay. I've started on eBay. It's a lot, but I'm so excited about this hat. It's the highest quality hat that I have thus far, and I'm super excited about it because it comes from our very good friend,
Mr. Benji. Yes.
Benji Barker. And I'm going to make a post about it today, not only to celebrate a hats off to Benji for this amazing hat.
Is that your series? Hats off to Benji?
Yeah, it's kind of like hats off to blank, right? Like I like do a little bit about people. But so Benji, this is his company, Improve, and so he is a national painting vendor servicing CRE contracts, and so I'll write a little bit more about him today. But the reason I'm super stoked about Benji, for many reasons, is that he is totally smashing it on content and video especially. Like, yes. Somebody who like has really gone all in on their personal branding, is posting consistently, and is like showing the work that he's actually doing and his personality as a part of that. And so everything he posts, I'm just like, this is great. And like the way that he is just like all in on video, especially, like I feel I've never met him. We've never spoken, except for just like exchanging comments and swag, right? But I feel like I know him, and he also has like I recognize him from his branding to the glasses, just like to the look, right? And so like if for some reason I like saw him in an airport, I would be like, I know him. That's the guy, right?
Yes. Yes.
So he is a great example of someone, again, like who is a painting contractor that's going all in on content? Nobody else on this app.
Right. Right.
know?
And what's cool about what Benji does too is I believe he's out of Columbus, Ohio. And so, but their company does stuff all around the United States, which is really, really cool. And he's just one of the nicest dudes ever. I got to talk with him and his marketing director, Laura Showalter. I'm probably saying her last name wrong. I'm trying to remember it.
Add her immediately because she's crushing it.
and just the idea that they're so open to creating content about sharing their journey and the process is exactly what it's all about. And so it's really exciting to see that they're doing a lot of things. And funny enough, Hector and I went and looked at hats yesterday because we're like, we got to get some swag. We got to get some hats out there. I know it's either hats or socks, right? Like
Man,
I like socks. So I don't know. I've got to figure it out. It's either hats or socks. We'll get it done. All right. So on to what we actually want to discuss with you today, which is your one-liner and why.
Line. No.
So your one-liner is super important, and your one-liner is a way to explain what you do that makes it so easy even a fifth grader could understand it. Why is having a clear and concise one-liner important? Well, I just explained it. People need to be able to understand what you do, right? Here, perfect examples of good one-liners, right? Well, not to toot my own horn, but hey, we do social so you don't have to. That's a one-liner, right? And then if we want to expand it, we help busy commercial real estate professionals do social media. That is how we explain what we do. Then I can go into my elevator pitch, which I'm not going to do with you guys right now, but it easily explains everything. It explains the concerns that my clients have. It explains how I come in and help them out and what they can expect at the end. So when we're talking about social media, we're talking about one-liners. We're talking about keeping it clear and consistent and concise. Your one-liners should follow you across platforms. So the biggest challenge that I see with this, and actually I hope Rod's still on Instagram, because he talks about value propositions all the time, right? What is your value proposition? So when commercial real estate brokers are calling, you have to be able to get that value proposition out. I think he says it's 19 seconds or less.
or less. Especially, right. Especially the way that you kick it off, right?
Yes, absolutely. So when we're talking about that and we're talking about your value proposition, how are you presenting that on social media? And the biggest, Rod says value props. The biggest challenge that I see most people have when it comes to social is everybody wants to sound smart. Okay.
I gave that up a long time ago.
Well, I love that you want to be smart, and I love that you want to sound smart. And particularly when we're talking about LinkedIn, everybody's like, it's very professional, want to sound very educated, and I get that. But if I can't figure out what the hell you do in 7 seconds or less, you've lost me.
Yeah.
If you have something like creating synergistic energies between.
Oh, what?
Yeah, there's bad.
Mean? Okay, yeah, we're both getting triggered, right? It's you have one sentence, you have 7 seconds. Better be really clear. If I have to guess for 1 second, synergistic, I have to stop and think about it in my head, what does that mean? And if somebody has to stop and think about that, that is creating friction, and they're not going to be like, "Who? What does that mean?" It's not inspiring curiosity. It's not drawing me in. If there is any friction or confusion about what it is that you do, I am much less likely to click in there to figure it out, unless I'm on one and trying to
really deep dive and try to figure out exactly what you do, right?
Yeah.
So
and ooh, yeah, confusion. Trying to be clever. And okay, so every once in a while, like somebody will have like a kind of an interesting, like I'm scrolling through my network right now to try to like find examples, and like I'm not, I don't have a strong connection with this person, but I just want to call him out. Like this one guy, Michael Flight, his opening thing is Godfather of blockchain real estate. That's kind of funny. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of funny. But like at the same time, how is that a value proposition for how you're helping somebody, right? And so it's like, for me, I see that it's kind of funny. I might look at that closer, but like, it totally defines your first impression of somebody. It completely and totally defines your first impression of somebody.
It does. No, you're good. And you're right though. Sorry, we're both saying sorry. Hey.
Don't do that. Here's another great one. Jesse Thurston, random guy in my network. Hello. I sell apartment buildings in Minnesota. First of all, not a lot of Minnesota commercial real estate content out there. And so it's like, I sell apartment buildings in Minnesota. Great. It tells you what you are,
where you're at,
and where you're at and who you serve, right?
Right. And so it's super, super simple. So when we think about like Bob Knakal, I sell buildings in New York City, right? We know exactly what he does. When you think about Beth Azor, we know exactly what she does. She's the canvassing queen, right? We know exactly what they do because they've told us in their headlines, and it makes it super easy and simple to understand. So when you're thinking about somebody searching for you on social, maybe they're looking for your brand of whatever it is that you do. Think about what they would Google search.
Yes.
Right? What would they Google search if they were looking for what it is that you happen to offer as a service? Then how can you take that Google search and apply it to your personal brand, right? So I know that I do social media for busy commercial real estate professionals. So I'm thinking, bless you. I'm thinking about the fact that this is part of the search. So they're looking for social media for CRE, social media for commercial real estate, social media. Like those are the thoughts that are going in my head of, okay, how can I make this easy for them to find me? As Fly said, remove the friction, pull all that stuff away and make it so simple that a fifth grader can understand. Now, why do I keep bringing up a fifth grader? Well, it's a point that was made in Building Your Story Brand with Donald Miller. And the point being that a fifth grader should be able to understand what you're doing because for the most part, the reading comprehension of people is at a fifth grade level. This was the other great point at CREI Summit that Dr. J.J. Peterson brought up, which is you speak at a level 10 because you know your subject. It's going to start tracking me again. I keep forgetting that my camera, whenever I make hand movements, yes, it starts tracking. So you speak at a level 10. And then you realize that you have to dumb it down, right? So you realize that you're fully cognizant of that fact, but you still speak at a level, they're at a 3, and you're still speaking at a 5. So if you think that you're speaking at their level, you're probably going to have to bring it down even further for them to understand exactly what it is that you do.
This is what I was going to say about the word synergistic. Like, if you have the word synergistic, I'm going to get salty. If you have the word synergistic anywhere in your stuff, do you say that out loud? Do you say the word like if synergy is a part of your like I get flack sometimes because in real life I'm like bruh because I think it's really funny. And Sturmall guy is really, he's not about that. I got burned really hard by his recent tweet about bros. But again, are you using the kind of language in your materials, in your content, in your public facing marketing materials, which yes, your LinkedIn profile is marketing stuff, right? Like how in alignment is that with the way that you actually speak? And yes, this idea that people are consuming at a 5th grade reading level. Sometimes people are like, they kind of like bristle at that. They're like, I'm not, I'm not stupid. You know what I mean? And it's not about stupidity. It's not about intellect. It's about accessibility and again, formatting things to fit the platform. It is difficult to read college level reading material when you're here and you're scrolling through. It's not, if you have 7 seconds, it's going to take you 7 seconds to rattle off, like 3 syllable words. Right. And so it's about making things accessible, having a lot of clarity, whatever way that you can, because again, you don't have a whole lot of time. Whole lot of time. And like, as I'm scrolling through my network and looking at all of these headlines, I'm just like, I am spending more time looking at the headlines that are shorter. If you like all these headlines that go on and on and on, which there are reasons to do that, like SEO, like we were talking about, but it's like helping engineers generate more income through multifamily real estate. That's great. But I'm also just like, it's a lot of words,
Right. How could you make that shorter so that it makes more sense? Right. How can you break it down to the bare minimum? And this is actually one of the reasons why I loved Twitter/X back in the day. Pour one out. We're doing shots. I said back in the day. So when Twitter had 140 characters, you had to make your point in that very small amount of time. And I've talked about this before, but in 2016, I think tweets were losing half of their power. So if you had an audience of, say, 1,000, within 18 minutes, only 500 people would see your content, right? And then every 9 minutes after that, it just got worse and worse and worse. So that by the time an hour had gone by, your tweet wasn't going to show up in front of anybody's face. So you had to tweet fast. You had to tweet short, simple headlines that made a point, especially if you were marketing on there at that time. But what was great about that is it actually taught you how to make good headlines. And so I challenge anybody today, try to create, instead of using 280 characters if you're on X, try to create tweets in those 240 characters, right? Or the 140 characters. Try to make it as concise as possible so that you can still get your point out and people can read it and be done with it and react with it. But it is a great exercise.
I have some questions for you.
Yes.
Okay. How do you feel? Because I'm scrolling through my feed and I'm seeing a couple other things that are not headlines that are value props, right? So how do you feel about the opening line of your headline being some kind of social proof? Like over 700, about results, right? How do you feel about that? Trying to find some other examples. Like I've helped over, 3,000 investors, with start investing and having passive income. I'm just kind of making some stuff up now, but this is something that I see too. It starting with a piece of social proof versus your value prop. What are your thoughts about that?
Oh, that's a great question. And the reason why is because I love the idea of the social proof. I really do. But what does that mean to me?
Yeah.
That's when it comes down to it, what does it mean to the person that you're talking to or that you're trying to attract? If they're just trying to find out what, help 3,000 investors do what?
Right. Yeah.
What did you help them do? Did you help them win? Did you help them lose money? Did you help them divest of their clothing? I don't know. What? Right? You took the shirt off their back. I don't know what that means. I have no idea. So I guess the answer to that question would be,
I take my, it's really funny. Oh, it'd be really funny to do a roast of what the headline should actually be. Yeah, it's interesting, right? And again, with anything, it might take you a while to refine exactly what headline is right. the one thing I want to say to people also when they start to experiment with things is like, don't try to change everything all at once necessarily. If you're really getting nitty gritty, like, refine something, put it in to place. But the one thing I think I see people getting caught up into is like the constant refining of like, oh, I'm going to change this here. I'm going to change this. I'm going to change this. Like, work on something, find it, put it into place, and then like let it go for a while. Like, let it ride.
So here's the other practice that you can do is you can take what you do and you can take our friend Chat GPT, right? You can go into Chat GPT and you can say, help me refine this so that it is easy enough for a 5th grader to understand. And you'll get something back and it'll be super simple and you'll be like, I can't put this out there. But then I want you to sit on it and I want you to think about it and see how that could actually benefit your business. If it's something that's so simple that a 5th grader could understand it, that means everybody can understand what it is that you do. The other thing when we're talking about one-liners and value prop, well, for me particularly one-liners and creating an elevator pitch, is you need to think about who your audience is, what are their main concerns, and this just isn't. This is an emotional thing. What are their main concerns emotionally? Are they scared? Are they worried? What is happening with them that you need to help them overcome that? Then how do you come in and solve their problems? And then what does it look like if they don't go with you?
Yep.
Right? Do they lose all their money? Do they lose their buildings? What is it that happens to them if they don't go with you? What is it that happens to them if they're happier? Right? We're talking emotions. We're not talking the actual, like, my brain's not functioning. I'm coming up with big words that I shouldn't be coming up with. We're talking about the emotional aspect of it, right? You have to tap into that emotion for you to be able to create that one-liner that actually punches them in the gut, helps them understand exactly where you're at.
Yeah.
And then you're going to, go.
I just want to jump in because like there's actually one of my favorite marketing frameworks. I don't know if it's my favorite, but a very effective copywriting framework is problem, agitate, solution. You state what the problem is. You like whatever the particular pain point somebody is experiencing. And then you actually paint a very clear picture about exactly like you said, like what is their life like without that solution, right? And then you provide the solution. So there are a lot of different writing frameworks that you can use to sort of like set up like one thing, that like we've talked about on here before that's, used by Bosco Group and BKRA is the challenge, action, result, testimonial. Right? Like what was the challenge that the client was experiencing? What action did we take to address the challenge? How was it, what was the result of taking that action against that challenge? And then a testimonial from the person who got those results, right? So there are so many different ways that you can organize your writing, your thoughts, your materials, right? And so when we're talking about the value prop, the reason that we go back to the I help statement is that it's just it's very easy to plug it in. Seemingly easy, right? But
until you
have to work on if you can't articulate who you help and what you help them do at all, you got to work on that.
I also want you to think about the fact that when somebody comes up to you at a networking event and they say, "What do you do?" How do you answer that?
Yep.
Right. So the whole reason that I went through building your story brand, getting story brand certified is because I didn't know how to articulate my own business. How do you tell people what it is that you do if you can't get it out without stumbling over your words and tripping through everything? So for me, going through that certification process helped me get my one-liner, helped me get my elevator pitch, so that people understand when I talk to them and they ask me, what do you do? I do social media for busy commercial real estate professionals. And they're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then tell me more. And then I go through it. Like, I know that they don't have time, blah, 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 right? I have that down. My husband has that down. So if you ask him, what is it that you do? I work with my wife. She helps busy commercial real estate professionals with their social media. I mean, like, how easy, like, he knows how to respond because he's heard me say it multiple times. Yeah. He can say it. I can say it. We're a team. Boom. We got it done. Right.
I think Hector's value prop, just like pour one out for Hector, pour one out for the husbands of the social media girlies. Cause like my husband's value prop could be like, I help Fly get through the darkest times when there's no engagement or whatever. A couple other value props I just want to like send up from my network. There's one that's just retired. I love it. I don't know why. Because it's just, to me.
I think that's Hector's.
Is it Hector's?
I think that's Hector's. Hector says retired.
But I do want to call out one, and I lost the name of the person, and I don't know, I probably shouldn't be calling out people's names, but it was fast funding for real estate investors. That was the headline, fast funding for real estate investors.
I like that.
I like it. And especially because like when we're talking about SEO, like if I need fast funding and I'm a real estate investor, I might go into Google, be like fast funding for real estate investors, right? And that's that dude's headline. And so there's a lot, like there are some great tools, you know, one of my favorite tools that have used in the past is called Answer the Public. And
yes.
Answer the Public is great. You put in, you know, like your general kind of like keyword, and then it comes up, it gives you a list of all of the ways that people are searching and hitting that. And all the different phrasings of that, right? And so it's a great way to get in to be like, how are people actually looking up this information? And so, you know, because you want to meet the people where they're at, give the people what they want, right? And so I love that headline. I lost it. I've got so many connections. But
what I want to say about Answer the Public is that it used to be completely free for a long time, and now there's a paid, but you still have many search options, so it's absolutely free. So take that information and utilize it, actually use it. We had Beth Azor on with us on Instagram. Good morning, Beth. Thanks for joining us. She's got the Women's Real Estate Investment Summit coming up 13th and 14th. Going to be radically changing lives there. I think there's like going to be 225 women, mostly women. I'm sure there's some men that are going to pop in there, but down in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, where they're going to be doing this summit, they're going to be going through all the different asset classes, and GPs and LPs will meet. It's going to be amazing. I know it's just going to be a fantastic event. So glad that everybody gets to go there for that. When we're talking, you know, if you want more information about one-liners, if you want more information about how to articulate what it is that you do, Fly and I can always help you. Our DMs are open, or you can always check out school.com/social-mystery-VIP. That is my school group that I have that's helping people, all professionals, with their social media marketing, their questions, the funnel. We're always talking about the funnel. I want funnel cake.
Bro. Now every time I say bro, I just see like strip mall guy's little icon, and then like that one gif that's going around of like, you are not serious people. I'm not.
So I say bruh. I say it ironically though, because my boy is like bruh. Actually, my kids both, they're 16 and 18, so it's like bruh.
I bet you hear that a lot. And once again, I just want to say that, wow, I was going to go off on a tangent, but I'm not going to do that. We're here to help, and it takes time.
Yes. Yeah. In fact, I think on Thursday, I want to talk about when a piece of content doesn't hit, because I wrote a banger yesterday.
Really?
Did I banger.
No.
And it didn't go anywhere. So we'll talk about that.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna look at it.
It was very women centric about thinking and feeling. And it was so good. I'm in love with my own content. Dwayne Burris, go off.
Go off. Okay, I need to take my kid to school, so I had to go.
All right, everybody, have a great day. We'll see you back here on Thursday at 5:30 a.m. Pacific and 7:30 a.m. Central. You know what time it is. All right, we'll see you.
Benji.
And don't forget to check out Benji and Improve.
Love it.
Okay. Bye.